It is here, folks. We just entered the fourth quarter. If you are in e-commerce, then Q4 of every year is the season to buy because deals are everywhere and we can get really good deals on our inventory. So as we enter Q4 of 2021, we need to start to think about what are the key dates, what are the important things to keep in mind in this Q4, what are the important things for selling side of our business, and what are the important things for the buying side of our business and sourcing products. So I want to break this down and I want to talk about some considerations that I think that maybe you should have, especially if this is your first Q4 as a Lego seller. It is good to get a bit of a heads up on what to expect. So we have things like Christmas and people giving gifts and grandmothers trying to quickly buy a gift for their grandchild. We also have Black Friday, which of course is the peak shopping day of the year when retailers dramatically reduce their prices, and now it's really over the course of a week or maybe even 2 weeks. It's not even just on one day anymore. We have Thanksgiving Day, which is also a big shopping day, the day before Black Friday when a lot of the deals start. And then we have Cyber Monday, the Monday after Black Friday when the deals continue and supposedly everything moves online. But honestly, a lot of the Black Friday deals are online now anyway. Encompassing Black Friday and Cyber Monday and Christmas and everything else is the fact that mentality around shopping is different during Q4. People are more willing to spend. They're giving gifts. They're more willing to treat themselves after a tough year. They may be taking time off work during the course of the holiday period, which maybe they want to also buy a Lego set or something else during that time to enjoy while they're off work. There is a lot of different contributors here that basically lead to Q4 just being a massive bump in e-commerce and online sales. Now, this bump, of course, is different depending on what category of item you sell in. And if you sell inflatable swimming pools, Q4 is not really your season, of course. But if you sell toys, which is what we do, Q4 is critically important to your business, to the point where you should really be hinging a lot of the rest of your year around Q4, and you should be planning everything around how you're going to approach Q4. So in this video, I want to talk about both the buying and the selling side of a Lego selling e-commerce business because of course it is peak season for buying and peak season for selling. Now, before we jump into that, I want to talk a little bit about the dates. So what are the key dates? What are the things that we need to keep in mind as we enter Q4? So October is an important time, and I will talk a little bit more about that. There is no one key date to keep in mind in October, at least not right now, but it is still a very important time. When it comes to specific dates that we should mark in our calendars, of course, we have Thanksgiving, which is November 25th in 2021. And that, of course, is a Thursday. And then that is followed by Black Friday, which is November 26th, which is followed by Cyber Monday on November 29th. Now, those, of course, are the most important dates to keep in mind when it comes to buying and potentially some of the best deals that you might find. They don't necessarily always fall on those days, especially for Lego, but more on that soon. And then other dates that we need to keep in mind is as we get into December, we also have the free shipping day, which is Tuesday, December 14th. And when it comes to our sales and selling, we also need to remember the last Saturday before Christmas is typically a rush of online buying. Usually the people who've left their Christmas shopping until the last moment rush to try and order stuff before it's too late to get delivery in time for Christmas. Now, Christmas Day this year falls on a Saturday, so I think the weekend before Christmas Day, which will be Saturday, December 18th, will be a huge day for online shopping. And if you are selling Lego sets during that time, that is a day that we can expect to see a lot of activity. Now, before we jump into the buying and selling, I do want to ask for a very quick favor. Here on the BrickBucks channel, we are starting to approach that 10,000 subscriber number, which to me is just so amazing. When we get there, when we hit 10K, I'm going to do a pretty huge giveaway. So what I'm asking is, please, if you have not yet subscribed to BrickBucks, do it now if you want to be in with a chance of winning big during that 10K giveaway. I really do appreciate every new subscriber that helps me get closer to that 10,000 number. And with that, let's jump in here and look at buying first. So what are the considerations we need to make during Q4 when it comes to our buying and sourcing of items to sell, of items to add to our inventory. Now, there's a handful of different things that I like to think about ahead of Q4 and as we first come into Q4. So right now, these are still focus areas for me. So firstly, we have cash flow, right? We're going to need cash flow. We're going to need to be able to buy Lego sets as they go on sale, or if you sell other items, you got to be ready to buy those items as you see the great deals. This means freeing up cash flow. And if you have all your money tied up in inventory right now, it could be a good time to figure out, is there some stuff that you could start to list? Is there some stuff that you could put on the sales floor so that you start to get some payouts during November, and hopefully you can catch some of those deals? Now, that is a risk because Amazon and eBay and other platforms have delays with your payouts. So if you make sales during November and you start to catch some of that Q4 wave, then there will be a couple of weeks before you can get that cash back and reinvest it. You want to make sure that you don't miss the deals during that time when you're waiting for your money to come back to you. So it could be a thought if you feel comfortable using credit cards, only if you feel comfortable. I don't advise anybody using credit cards to buy inventory unless you are good with managing your finances. So please don't do it otherwise. But if you are someone who can use credit cards effectively, then that could be a good way to buy the inventory when the deals happen and then pay off the credit card as soon as you make your sales and get that cash back, maybe during December or maybe even in January. So thinking about your cash flow and how you're going to pay for new inventory is the first step. Preparing that in advance, getting your finances in order, and also budgeting, right? Knowing how much you want to spend, because it can get a little tempting when you see a great deal to overspend and to go a little bit too deep. And it's not good for anybody to over leverage because they got too excited about a great deal or to take on too much risk. So try to set a budget now, early in Q4, free up your cash flow and prepare and be ready for when those deals come along. And along the same lines of being ready, we also want to make sure that we have our accounts and everything set up when it comes to the online retailers. So during Q4, we're going to see great deals in places like Amazon, Target, Walmart. You want to make sure that you're signed up with these retailers in advance. You have an account, you know your passwords, you have your credit cards linked to your accounts, you have your tax exemption certificates in those accounts if possible, and maybe if that retailer also offers a credit card that can help you get some cash back, you do that now and try and get that set up in advance. The overall point here is that you are set up and ready to buy when the opportunity arises, right? So we have the cash flow preparation, but then we also have your accounts and your rewards programs and your credit cards and all of that stuff, getting all those things and all of the administration and all that setup done early in Q4. So when it comes to a great deal hitting, you can get in there fast. You can get your order straight through. You're not trying to find old account passwords or anything like that. Get all that stuff ironed out now. And the third thing I will say when it comes to preparing to buy during Q4 is to build your hit list. Similar to what I said when I'm talking about cash flow, we don't want to get too excited when we see a great deal and buy stuff that we didn't really want to buy, right? If we see a set drop 40%, we don't want to buy it just because it dropped 40%, because maybe the sets that you really wanted are going to drop 30% tomorrow. We want to try and stick to the game plan and don't get too tempted simply by the fact that things are dropping in price. And to stick to a game plan, of course, you need to create a game plan. So if you don't have one yet, if you don't know what your hit list is, what sets you're looking for, do that research now. Do your due diligence. Research what sets and what themes you want to try and buy. And then it's just a matter of waiting for those sets to drop in price. Now, some of them will not drop in price, but if you have 10 sets on your hit list and 5 of them drop in price, then you can buy those 5, right? You can go a little bit deeper in each of those 5, and at least you're getting good deals and you're getting stuff that you previously researched and are a fan of buying. Now, when you've built your hit list and you know what you're looking for, you're going to want to start monitoring. So now it's time to start looking for deals on the sets that you are bullish on. You can do this by setting alerts with services like Keepa or Camel. You can actually input a specific set that you're interested in and tell it to send you an email when the price drops. But some of those tools are not really perfect, and some of them don't really track a lot of different retailers that might have sudden sales during Q4. So a good practice will be to start monitoring deal pages and keeping an eye on that. And also make sure you join the free Lego investing and reselling Facebook group, because that is a place where people will share deals as they find them. Last Q4, I was super impressed with the activity and the sharing and collaboration that was going on in that Facebook group when it comes to finding deals and sharing with each other. So join that group. The link is in the description below, and make sure you're in there before the deals begin. Now, another thing to keep in mind about buying during Q4 is don't sleep on the in-store offers. There is a temptation, of course, to just buy all the online deals now and don't go out and don't bother going to stores and trying to find deals because it is time consuming. But at the same time, some of these stores have in-store only offers and it can be very worth going out into store. You could also get some stores to price match. So for example, if you live in the US, you can go to a Target and get them to price match Amazon or Walmart. And during Q4, that could be a powerful strategy to have in your back pocket. So be ready to jump in the car and get out there into the brick and mortar stores if the deals are good enough. Another thing I really want to call out is if you're new to online arbitrage or Lego reselling, don't get too caught up with quick flips. Lego sets will go out of stock in Q4. Amazon will run out of stock, Walmart will run out of stock, and prices can start to rise quickly on sets that are not retired. Last Q4, the Razor Crest went above $300 and it was not a retired set. So it is possible that this will happen, but it's not easy to predict those things, and I think it should be kept for more experienced Lego resellers. If you're new, I don't think you should be aiming for a strategy of quick flipping throughout Q4 because it may not work out in your favor. And with that in mind, also another thing we got to keep in mind when it comes to our buying is to be prepared for stock issues, particularly this year as we continue to have fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. There is expected to be some stock issues. Now, the Lego Group have said that they are in a better position than other toy manufacturers when it comes to keeping supply in the retail stores, but it is hard to know whether that supply will be enough to meet the crazy demand that we expect this year. So as you're planning for your buying, just keep in mind that there may be some stock issues and maybe the sets that you thought you would buy will not be available when you want them, or the discounts won't be as good as you expected them to be, because if retailers are running low on stuff, they don't typically want to discount them. So that remains to be seen how that is going to pan out, and we just have to be ready for that to become a problem and impact our buying just a little bit. And a way to try and action that a little bit is to just make sure you buy as soon as you see the good deals. Don't wait until Black Friday to try and start buying, because the deals may not be what you expect. If you see a great deal in October, buy it. Don't keep all of your money for Black Friday. Start to buy when the deals are good enough. When they hit your target purchase price, buy them. And then if it drops again and drops a little lower, don't feel guilty about it, just buy some more. And then you can average down your cost on that set. But it's not a great strategy to keep holding out, and if something drops to 30%, don't hold out and think maybe it'll hit 35. Just buy the stuff when it hits your target price to make sure that you get the deal, make sure that you get the inventory, and everything else will work itself out. And the last thing I'll say about buying is just have fun out there. It is a fun time to be a Lego investor when we see great deals and we get great inventory for a good price. It is exciting, it is fun, so enjoy the process and don't stress about it too much. Alright, so that's it for buying. Now let's talk about the selling side of our business. What are some considerations that we need to make about selling? So the first one, of course, is so similar to buying and building our hit list for buying, we also need to first prepare our hit list for selling, right? What are we putting on the sales floor this Q4? Because as Lego investors, some of the stuff we might want to hold until next year. So going through our inventory, figuring out what is hitting our price targets and what we feel ready to sell is, of course, the first thing. And when we have our list of sets that we know we're going to sell during Q4, then we move on into the other preparations. What are those other preparations? Of course, we need to get our supplies. We want to simplify order fulfillment as much as possible and prepare everything in advance, so during Q4 when things are crazy, we are not trying to scramble to find a box that fits the set that we just sold. We have everything ready. So as you build the list of SKUs that you are going to sell, then you need to figure out how you're going to package each one. So if that involves buying new boxes, then do that early and do it fast and have all of the boxes and all of the packaging material ready at your shipping station in October. Don't wait until November to get that stuff organized. You really should be doing it earlier, like in September. Now, as all those supplies pour in, of course, you get your boxes, you get your tape, then the next thing is to actually set up your shipping station. You want to think about efficiencies and make things fast, so you need to make sure that your space is ready. That could involve testing a couple of different workflows, setting up your printer. And by the way, if you don't have one already, I do recommend getting a thermal printer, a label printer. They really simplify everything when you can print directly onto a label without needing any ink. Slap the label on the box, it just simplifies everything. I have a link in the description below to the one that I recommend. And then as the sales start to roll in, The next tip here is to fulfill orders as fast as you possibly can. Now that's for a few reasons, but the biggest one is that the post office will be overrun. During Q4, with e-commerce growing so much, the post office just cannot keep up, and there's always a backlog. There is always delays. Expect those delays and try to do what you can to minimize them, because we don't want unhappy customers trying to submit returns because stuff didn't arrive quick enough. So when it comes to your handling time on Amazon, usually we have 2 days, and on eBay you can set your own handling time. If you have a handling time of 3 or 4 days or longer, I definitely recommend trying to get that down to 1 day during Q4. Try to fulfill orders the same day that you get them if you possibly can, or at least the next day, and try to get your packages to the post office early in the day as well. That does make a difference. If you bring it too late in the day, then it won't go out until the following day, and that can add some more delays. We want to avoid delays as much as possible and just take as much ownership as possible over the package getting to the customer as fast as possible. Now we can also expect more customer service time investment in Q4, because customers will be anxious about delays, they will be anxious about shipping times, they will be asking questions. Will this get here before Christmas? Is this what my son wants? Is this the same thing as this other product? They will ask questions because they are anxious, they are buying gifts, they don't know enough about the product, they need more information. Expect more questions and more time investment in customer service as a seller during Q4. And of course, the thing that nobody likes to talk about with e-commerce is returns. If you're an eBay seller, you might not accept returns, which is great. It's a benefit of eBay. But if you're an Amazon seller, you probably will be getting returns. And in January, I would expect somewhere between 2 and 4% of the orders that went through to actually have a return request. So this is the ugly side of the business, of course, but it is a part of doing business. We do need to expect those returns. Most of them hopefully will get returned without too much damage. You can just go and resell them. All right, folks, so those are some considerations for buying and for selling when it comes to Q4 and holiday period as a Lego reseller. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please hit that like button, because it really does help out the channel. And also, if you like this video, check out this one. This is a video where I walk through some of the tools that I use when it comes to shipping supplies and different things like that. So that might also be useful when it comes to prepping for Q4. And with that, I'm Shane from brickbucks.net. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.